Hello, Chiefs Kingdom, and welcome to the Arrowhead Kingdom Chiefs cast, live from the Wolf Den. I am Chris.
And I'm Josh, and today we're going to be talking week 16 and 17 and previewing week 18. Big reminder that all Chiefs fans are invited to join us for game day. Visit arrowheadkingdom.org to learn more about the group and to find your local chapter. And please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.
Our topics today about your Kansas City Chiefs. We're actually going to go back all the way to week 16 and briefly recap that, as well as the, mini events that happened in week 17 and also preview week 18.
All right. And we're, of course, presented by Complete Weddings and Events, your leading provider of photo, video, DJ, photo booth, lighting, and coordination services. Visit them at completewedo.com. All right. So before we get into this, what are you guys drinking? I am having a tall gin and tonic in a pint glass that has a quote that says,
look at that. That's like a glass of water.
Yeah. But
actually, I kind of did the
says,
same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. This glass says, when I read about the evils of drinking, I quit reading. And it's a quote by Henry Youngman. So I think that's pretty appropriate for.
Apparently on his last 5 ice cubes in his household right there. Like they're really light there.
I wanted to make sure they go to a good home. And then one more quick story. I had a really funny experience. So I went into CVS to pick up some cold medicine for my wife and to grab some Airborne or something to that effect. I know a handful of people that have the Omicron right now. And it seems like it's what the NFL is saying. It's like one day of kind of feeling like garbage, and then you feel like $1 million the next day. So it's kind of plowing through like a fast cold, which seems like a good type of trend for some of this stuff moving forward and everything. But so I go to check out, and the CVS lady and I are making kind of chit chat, and like, yeah, your shelves got kind of cleaned out. She's like, yeah, we're only getting shipments every other week and everything. I'm like, yeah, the supply chain stuff's kind of a mess and whatnot. And so, yeah, a lot of it's just stuff getting stolen or whatever. And, a lot of it's the COVID kind of stuff that's going away. She's like, or media control, as I like to call it. I'm like, what? Wait, what? And apparently Delta and Omicron are an anagram for media control. And I just think it's a little off-putting when your pharmacist is the one that's putting that out. So
I just want to say you're the guy talking. So the person checking you out at the checkout counter, I'm the guy in line going, let's talk more scan. Come on. Let's talk.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and there totally was a lady behind us and everything. And I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know right now, but I can assure you that it's not helpful for really anything. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm lucky because the CVS over by us has self-checkout. So if I run into people like that, walk around, take care of it. So.
I'm drinking a Kettle One cranberry. Oh, there you go.
Nice. Yeah, so we're doing some.
I'm drinking one of my kind of favorite drinks now. I just take orange sparkling water and bourbon. It's actually really refreshing. So
yeah.
No, I got some alliteration. Kettle One and cranberry and a Kaufman cup.
Yeah. Hoorah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's some William Shakespeare shit right there, man.
It is. Yeah. So I'm probably gonna mix up some emergency here later tonight just to keep everybody healthy. I did my at-home COVID test, came up negative yesterday after being somewhat proxemic to one of the people who came down with everything. But if you get that orange flavored either emergency or Airborne, you can mix that stuff with vodka and make a driver. So
okay, I should try that.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean it's great. And the effervescent stuff, I've really kind of gotten into that. I never knew anything about Alka-Seltzer growing up. I just remember the plop, plop, fizz, fizz kind of commercials and stuff. But Alka-Seltzer is my number one go-to hangover situation.
We're that old plop, plop, fizz, fizz. We saw the commercials.
I get, yeah. But no, I mean, Alka-Seltzer is the stuff. I mean, you're sitting there fizzing aspirin to any kind of headache you have in it.
So Vladimir, my son has had a cough for like a while now. I went to the doctor and everything, and they're just like, it's just a cough and has a sinus infection. They'll go away. And they have Hall's medicine, the Hall's tablets now with a sucker stick on it. So it's like a little lollipop. And I give him the Hall's. And he's all excited. He goes, "Yay, a lollipop!" He pops in his mouth, and his face went through like when I imagine like multiple like stations of like denial, sadness, acceptance. It's like, no.
I guess it's pretty awesome.
He's like, oh yeah, this is great. This is terrible. Oh, whenever you pop in the halls, maybe the first initial thing's fine, and then when it does what Hall's cough drops are supposed to do, it doesn't feel good, especially if it's your first time ever using a Hall's cough drop. And he was just like, oh dear God, he was freaking out. It was too much.
There's exactly one piece of medicine that tastes like what it advertises as the flavor, and it's Luden's cough drops, the cherry ones. Those actually taste like cherry. Those are
candy.
Those are pretty good, yeah.
Those are candy, and I don't think they have any actual.
You can call it Jolly Rancher for all I care. They're like, yeah, it's Jolly Rancher.
Exactly. Those are Jolly Ranchers. On a box that says cough drops, you pay the amount that you would pay for 6 Jolly Ranchers for one.
Exactly. So yeah, he went through the Halls experience, and I'm like, well, I like to think the pain and the suffering makes it feels like it's working better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
one of my favorite jokes is by Mitch Hedberg when he's talking about how he eats an entire bottle of Advil because he's like, well, don't put a candy coating on the outside of the pill.
Yeah.
I definitely did not do that justice. I did not do that like Mitch Hedberg, but it is one of his funnier jokes. But, yeah.
I like how a lot of times I'll eat an entire thing of Advil, but can't put a can of candy coating on it and think I'm not going to eat that.
Yep. There you go.
That's a very good impression of Bob Dylan doing it, Josh. That's Bob Dylan telling him.
Well, I'm Bob Dylan. So here's Mitch Hedberg. Hey.
I went to go buy a candle holder, but they were out of candles, so I bought a cake. Yes, very good, Mitch. Very good joke.
I just bought a donut. You don't need to be bringing paper into this transaction.
You do not need to bring paper into this transaction. Yeah, this is hard. Damn.
My favorite Mitch Hedberg joke is the one where he's talking about a lady ran into me at the hotel and said, I saw you doing your gig the other night, but she didn't tell me if I was good. And then I ran into her a week later and said, hey, you're that lady I ran into the hotel that saw my gig. And you were good.
Hold on. I got my favorite kind of one-liner joke. Here, I'll do it here. Emu Phillips did this one. He goes, I'll try to do it like him. He goes, I used to think that the brain was the most amazing muscle in the body. And then I realized, hey, look who's telling me to say that. So yeah.
Oh God.
Right. I'll close out with my favorite Mitch Hedberg. The dog is forever in the push-up position.
The dog was forever in a push-up. Oh my gosh,
that's great.
I like that.
And that's one of those jokes where if you watch a live video, you just see him waiting for the audience to catch up with him.
Yes.
Like, y'all with me on that?
That's one of those where he kind of laughs at himself, like, what did I just say? But yeah.
Or Stephen Wright.
I like refried beans. I like to try fried beans. Maybe they're just as good, and we don't need that extra step.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh man,
I once threw a stick into the forest, and I said, "You're home.
You're home." I'm at a hotel. I can't tell you anything about it, but I can say that it's related to 2 trees.
I like the more distance we put between ourselves and talking about the Bengals game. I'm all about that. Let's just let's just do this for the next hour. I want this.
Yeah, sure. Well, let's add to that distance by talking about the game we didn't recap last week against.
Okay, yeah.
Hoorah!
I feel personally responsible for that one.
Oh, that was a great game. I mean, that was just an unholy beatdown. That was great.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, they could have hung 50 in that game if they wanted to.
Yeah, they just didn't want to, and I appreciated that. I mean, we'll send Ben Roethlisberger out with that as the final memory, but of Arrowhead, but you don't have to humiliate the guy.
Leave him alone. Come on.
I would not feel bad if he got humiliated, but that's just me how I feel about.
I don't like him either. I don't like him either.
I saw a stat that said he's never had a losing season with the Steelers. Saw that?
I think you're right, because I know Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing season.
They haven't, and so they locked that up. So Mike Tomlin has not had a losing season with the Steelers. Roethlisberger
I think his rookie
had one.
Well, so his rookie, I think his first 2 years were with Cowher.
Yeah.
And
I mean, they won the
Cowher
Super Bowl.
retired after the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see here.
It's Ben Roethlisberger. Josh is Googling.
Big Ben Roethlisberger.
He's Googling recipes for tiramisu. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Cinnamon ice cream.
so we got the Wikipedia page for the list of Steelers seasons. Okay, so he was drafted in 04,
Yep.
Won the Super Bowl
in 06.
in 06. Let's see. No, sorry, they won the Super Bowl in 2008.
Well, that was the second one.
Yeah, they won the
beat
Super Bowl
the
in five.
Seahawks.
They won the Super
Yeah,
Bowl
that was a
in
Mickey
five.
Mouse Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, so they lost.
Oh, yeah.
They lost the AFC Championship game to the Patriots in 04, which would have been his his rookie season, which means that yes, Roethlisberger has not had a losing season, and neither is Tomlin. The Steelers went 6-10 in 03, and then Roethlisberger came in that next year. So yes, Roethlisberger and Tomlin have not had losing seasons.
Yeah, cool. Well, heck of a run. Good
Yeah.
for him. Heck of a run. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know what it's like to be a Steelers fan, but it's got to be nice to know that going into each season, there's at least above 50% chance or above 500 experience and a couple Super Bowls to look back on. So yeah, but that beatdown was something else. It was like Raiders level beatdown stuff.
Yeah. Well, and we'll get into what the playoff matchups can possibly look like, but I mean, there's outside possibilities that Kansas City can wild card weekend be hosting either the Raiders or the Steelers, depending on how this whole thing shakes out. And I mean, that's a far cry from having to have the Colts or the Chargers come to town.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor, big fan.
Yeah. But still probably better if they don't play. And we'll get into that a little bit more. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about that Steelers game. It was just it was an unholy beatdown. It was incredible. It was everything I wanted. I wish
I like when I get bored at football games.
Well, you had no Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill at like what 50% at best. I mean that's what I really took away from that. And they just rolled up and down the field still.
Josh and I watched it together too. We're at the bar.
Yeah.
And it was just there was a lot of it was a ruckus. I mean, I liked it because the Raiders Broncos game, is that right? Was that on the other screen?
Yeah. So we were back in Hayes, and we sat at a table, and there was a table full of Broncos fans. The next one over, it was like, hey, we like to talk a lot of crap in the middle of the game. I hope you guys are okay with that. And
we're surrounded by like 7 children. Like, can you maybe tone it down a little bit though? Like,
no, I mean, and my comment was like, I don't censor anything in front of my kids. I just have a hard time believing you're going to have anything to say before this is all said and done. But
nice.
Do whatever you want. We'll kind of address this if we go too far. But
don't say like the C word, please, around the kids. Don't say leave the F bombs kind of out of it. Like. I find myself as I get older, like, I'm like the censors guy at like Comedy Central or TBS. Like, all right, so every gesture with your hands, don't make it like that movie Bruno you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like,
oh God.
Yeah, let's keep it to a minimum. Like, you're welcome to talk smack, but remember, there's a 5-year-old over here. Let's not lose our minds here, guys. Come on, let's grow up. Come on.
Well, exactly. But at the same time, I kind of took that entire thing as the equivalent of walking into a gas station to pay for a candy bar, and somebody in front of you was, filling out Keno tabs and buying a bunch of scratchers, going along. Sorry if I freak out when I win $10,000 here. So we'll risk that situation. But anyway.
Yeah, can you just wait for me to leave before you keep doing that? Can you move, sir? I like to buy my stuff.
Exactly.
Just kind of park there, and they keep on buying tickets while you're in line and stuff. It's annoying.
Anything else to say about that Steelers game besides that it was awesome and it kind of showed what we can actually be? The Steelers aren't a good team, but they ain't that bad either. So that was a beatdown of a team that has the guy who's going to end up being the NFL sack leader in TJ Watt.
Mm-hmm.
They've still got Mike Tomlin on the other sideline. They had weapons, even if Roethlisberger can't effectively get it to him like he used to be able to. And they have a defense that they take pride in. So, I mean, that was a solid win that, I thought was something the team should hang their hat on just as much, if not more, than trouncing the Raiders a couple weeks in a row or twice in a month. So It's my overall take. And then we roll into the game this past weekend against the Bengals. I wrote a column for Arrowhead One, which I do every week. And part of what I got into there is I didn't even get to watch that whole game. I watched about half of the first quarter because it was on my phone with the Verizon app. And so I got to stream it. And then for whatever reason, they were only showing one game, and it was the Bears game. So I'm sitting there watching it old school on the like plays that come up and everything. And seemed like everything was in hand. And then the second half just, kind of got weird, but I was playing music for a kid's birthday party and just kind of halfway paying attention to that game. So I had no idea all the stuff that was happening, and that Tyreek Hill was dropping 65-yard passes that probably went 80 in the air, that Byron Pringle was returning touchdowns, kickoffs for touchdowns, and it was getting called back because there was a hold on the other side of the field. And I had no idea any of that stuff was going on. And then all of a sudden I see the goal line stand at the end. And it's one of those, when you're watching the thing on the game cast on a phone, you'll just see the same play for a long time. And it's like, okay, did they score a touchdown? Is this a really long ass timeout? Or is there something else going on? And the answer was there was a third thing going on. And it was a call for illegal hands on L'Jarius Sneed. And I'm sitting there going, you're at the 1 yard line. You can do whatever the hell you want for 5. What could possibly have happened that was illegal hands that wasn't just blatant pass interference? I'm like, I don't even understand how that could be an actual call. Now I'll let you guys go, since you actually watched the game, and tell me what you think of that. Because I was
going to say, did you see like the television coverage map for Wisconsin? Like everywhere except like the very southeast of Wisconsin, including Milwaukee, was showing Chiefs Bengals. And then that one corner that we live in, we're showing, what was it, Bears Giants? I mean, that dumpster fire of a game. So we kind of got.
I didn't think they played the Giants. I thought it was someone else. No, it was Bears Giants. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because the Bears rolled up the Giants. But so that was kind of frustrating when I looked at the map. Yeah.
Well,
no, I'll let Brian go first.
Okay. All right. I'm going. All right. So, you would imagine the first quarter and the first half of the experience, we were just felt like we were another one of those bulldozer steamroll kind of games. Get into the third quarter, and something changed. Something was off. Not making the plays that we were used to seeing. So, I mean, you can fast forward all through all that. I mean, I'm tip of the hat to that Burrow guy, right? He threw 525 yards the game before that, 476 yard, whatever it was. This game, like, damn, dude, this guy's on. I mean, he did a good job. For me, it always comes back to that 3rd and 27 play. I really focused on that one. So I'm sitting with Tanya. I'm like, okay, the odds of them completing a first down, 3rd and 27. This is where we shift the momentum. It's going to be right here. Should be good. We can handle the ball, and we'll put it away. And I'll be gosh darn, they got a goddamn first down on 3rd and 27. Mm-hmm. And the wide receiver, Davis, is that his name?
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase, excuse me. I don't know who I was thinking about there, but my bad. Yeah, he was just making it's almost like it's kind of like plays that are so low. What's that word? Like low probability. It's like half court shot level basketball, low probability, but they're like 3 times in a row. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, this is almost like I'm watching something that is so low probability, but it was also like fascinating to watch. And then we get into that final stand on the goal line, which that should be studied by. I mean, people come at me, but talking to people like we should have let them score. Hindsight's 2020. Maybe we should let them score, give Mahomes the ball, and go from there. But we didn't know it was going to be a 4th and a bunch of penalties at the end there. That's going to kneel it down, spike it for a field goal to end it out. I mean, it's hard for me to like go to. Let's say if I was a defensive coordinator going to the press after a game, like, oh yeah, I'll let them score in that play. Like, what you let someone score seems like a hard thing to sell. But if we know then what we know now, we're like, maybe the future, like if any other defensive team, defense is in that position, they'll be like, the Chiefs did this against the Bengals, and look what happened. We might want to let them score and give our quarterback a chance so we can go for 2 in a tying situation. So I think this will be studied and looked at a lot in terms of like the defensive stands like that. But I mean, I guess handed to the Bengals. They came through when they needed to come through with like kind of haymaker or low probability plays that should never have happened, but they did. The zebras were. The zebras are the zebras. I don't like whenever people they get frustrated at the zebras. I get it. No, you're right. And I hate when people are dismissive of the referees, like making bad calls consistently. I do think that there is some validity to that. I hate when people are dismissive about it. Like, the Chiefs just should have scored more touchdowns in the third quarter. I'm like, yeah, the reason why that didn't happen is there was bad calls and they were happening consistently. Then momentum shifted and we weren't able to do that. Well, that was the problem. They didn't score any touchdowns. Yeah, because the referees were stopping the momentum with bad. I hate that argument. That's always the argument online. Drives me nuts. It's too dismissive. But I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, blaming refs is bad form. We really should not boil down to that. But I hate the dismissiveness of it because as often as it was happening in this game, it would make anyone want to pull their hair out of their heads. So, but I tip of the hat to the Bengals.
You think I'm like this?
because referees. And so, yeah, that's my take on that. But yeah, that was a heck of a game. But yeah, I wish we would have pulled it. We had every chance to make it happen. Didn't happen.
So real quick, one of my favorite videos on the internet, this is probably close to 5 years old at this point, but there was a video entitled, I think it was Funny or Die, but it was every sports press conference ever. And it was Weird Al Yankovic as a grizzled coach for the City Animals was the name of the team.
Weird Al is the coach of the City Animals?
The City Animals. So City Animals. But watch this video, but it's on YouTube. But it starts out where somebody makes a comment about not talking about those plays like penalties and missed opportunities and these big plays and how they didn't change the game. It's just like those game-changing plays in no way had any effect on changing the game. And that's it. And that's it. And that's it. I mean, that's it. Blaming the refs is poor form. What I think is the poorest form is people talking about the conspiracy theory that the NFL is trying to fix games. That is a load of
I agree.
Yeah,
you know what? I have.
There's too many moving parts.
Like
the logistics don't work out.
So the devil's advocate to that is why in the hell would the NFL want to screw over the opportunity of having Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, especially against Tom Brady again or Aaron Rodgers? Like it's a dumb argument.
That much more of a compelling story
over Patrick Mahomes? No.
Exactly. I mean, go to Arrowhead One. Go to Arrowhead One, the site I write for. David Bell, who's another one of the writers, has an entire write-up about this. He talks about it being a replacement officiating crew. He talks about how it was originally supposed to be the crew that called the Chiefs Cowboys, and how there were 12 penalties, 6 on each team, 5 offensive, 1 defensive each way, and how this team that was calling, essentially is a B squad. And let's keep in mind, everybody's looking for employees. Nobody has enough help. You don't have to leave your house to hear that. I mean, are we really shocked that NFL refs are in a different scenario? I mean, NFL teams, just look at the COVID list this week. I mean, Jamar Chase scored 57 points in fantasy this week. I wasn't playing because I took 5th place, but first week of the playoffs, I got knocked out because I only scored 70 points because half my team was on COVID. And then I followed the next 2 and put up 160 each week and would have taken first. But, that's how playoffs work. But Jamar Chase put up 57 points this week. And he's been doing it all year.
Yeah.
Not that, but he's been doing it all year.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, by the way, the conspiracy thing, by the way, remember that opening scene to the Last Boy Scout, that Bruce Willis movie? Is that right? Bruce Willis is in the film?
Damon Wayans is
in that. And the dude's like the running back, and it's halftime. He gets a phone call from some mafia person or whatever. And goes, "We paid you good money. You better score more touchdowns," or whatever. Something like that. Just trying to like fix the game. And the whole scene, I won't spoil it, but then he goes out there and I'm watching that film now. I watched it like last year and I was like, wait a second. If you want to bribe somebody, bribe the defense and make them not tackle as hard. You have a better chance of an outcome happening that you want. You can't bribe someone, a running back, into doing better. That's just not going to. He's doing his hardest every time. You want to bribe the defense, not tackle as hard. That's the the mafia messed it up. They should have
you want to bribe the running back to back off a little bit. I mean, remember the movie Blue Chips?
Yes.
Let's not spoil these movies that came out in the early '90s, by the way, for anybody, in case you haven't seen.
You haven't had a chance to watch them yet.
Yeah, but Blue Chips, and I think it was Penny Hardaway's character, but it was a whole thing where he was point shaving, and the whole thing is that they start watching the tape, and he dogged it getting back on defense like half a dozen times, and he wasted a lot of clock and stuff like that, and you find out that he was point shaving, but it was the equivalent of something like 6 points, and he had a 2.5 point spread and stuff like that. So I mean, it's pretty easy to get to a point when you watch movies like that to think about what little tweaks could actually do. And that's really the entire narrative for people that hate the Patriots. It's just like, oh, the Cheatriots, the referees and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, if you look at the real math problem, like Bill Belichick and Tom Brady had that team at a point where they had to win one football game to get to the Super Bowl. You know, they got the bye. So they were 1 win from a conference championship, but they got the bye every single week. So you take away 1/3 of the possibility of not making it to a Super Bowl by not having to play wild card weekend. You know, football is a weird game with an oblong ball that can bounce any kind of weird way. Really, the worst thing you can do if you're trying to not lose football games is play as many as you possibly can. You know, stuff's just going to happen. It's the whole any given Sunday thing. Is all of this, and I'm having a hard time getting really wound up about a Chiefs team that won 8 games in a row, losing by 3 to Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, and Jamar Chase. I mean, those guys have been beating people down all year.
Remember me like 9 weeks ago saying like, remember that time when won 10 games in a row? Remember that? I feel like that's coming on. I feel like that's happening. It's going to happen. We got to 8 in a row. So.
Exactly. And we're going to end up being 1 game away from winning 10 in a row. I really believe that. I mean, but we still haven't given Chris a chance to talk about the Bengals game yet.
No, it's okay. I from a high level, I came away from that game thinking there had to be a lot of crap going right for the Bengals to win that game by 3 points. I mean, Jamar Chase putting up a rookie record, Joe Burrow throwing up, one-on-one balls to Chase, or Chase running through 4 defenders, or Steve Spagnuolo losing his mind and having Dan Sorensen trying to play cover 2 deep on Jamar Chase's side of the field. I could go on and on. I actually had someone today ask me, it's like, well, what happened to the Chiefs last weekend? I was like, I don't know. You got a couple hours, I can tell you. Like, there was just so many things that happened in that game that you could point to. And that to me is still encouraging, because I keep using this term margin of error. And I feel like earlier in the season, this team probably would have lost that game by, maybe 2 scores, just because
100%.
Their margin for error was a lot smaller than it is right now. And that was encouraging to me, that they actually had a chance, and they damn near almost, just like you said, Josh, there were some bunk hands to the face penalty away from getting the ball back on their own 1 yard line and having a chance to go win the game. So all that considered, it's not as fluky as the Titans game 2 years ago, but it's still kind of in that same ballpark. I mean, so I didn't come away from that game too upset about, I guess, the occurrences, except, and I wrote, it's going to show up in our writer's room coming up here, but the thing I came away with, though, is the whole fact that, and it starts from the 3rd and 27 play you talk about, Brian, the fact that, and Steve Spagnuolo is on record saying that he was trying to keep the Bengals from getting a field goal. Okay. What's the harm in giving up 3 points there? Because guess what's going to happen? 15 is going to get the ball. Okay. He goes cover 0 blitz. He puts Charvarius Ward on an island, and Jamar Chase did what he did all day, made another great catch. Okay, fine. The next opportunity to get the ball back to 15 was, pretty much in that I guess I can't remember if it was before or after they got the first down on the 1 yard line when Joe Burrow was, sneaking the ball in. But, to kind of go back to something you were saying, Brian, about how, letting a team score, trying to get that concept and understand that concept. The first time I remember seeing that and I started to think about that was Super Bowl 32. And that was when the Denver Broncos were going goal to go against the Packers. And the Packers just literally went, open the Red Sea and let Terrell Davis score so they could get Brett Favre the ball back. I would have liked to see that in that situation as well. I would much rather have the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands with a chance to tie and go to overtime than to try and, basically risk it and get a stop or force a field goal with 30 seconds left. I think you're just making it harder on yourself. But just the whole fact that Steve Spagnuolo was trying to keep them from getting a field goal on 3rd and 27 and wasn't thinking, well, I have arguably the best quarterback in the NFL. And if I do enough here to just hold them to 3 and get them the ball, we're in great shape. And that's something that I hope he changes, especially in the playoffs, if they run into that situation again, that he doesn't take the same tactic that he did against the Bengals.
And that's my biggest question with the entire thing. Does this game go down differently if it's a playoff game? I think it 100% does.
That's a good question.
Does. I mean, 100% does. I mean, the time to try and get a four down goal line stand is in week 17. And I want the 1 seed. I would love to have the 1 seed. And some of this is we're in the time of the year where I'm at wedding shows every single weekend, and any weekend that I don't have to figure out how to get to a football game is great for me. So having a day off is awesome. I want nothing more than to not have to try and figure out watching a football game while doing a 2-day wedding show in Madison and going to an Alabama concert, which is going to be awesome, by the way. But there's probably going to be a game. And, part of what I wrote is that the 2 seed is probably fair. And it's fair because you couldn't close the deal against the Chargers and the Ravens in weeks 2 and 3. It's fair because you let the Bills beat the crap out of you and you let the Titans curb stomp you. You don't deserve to be the 1 seed. And I have a hard time calling for Steve Spagnuolo's head, getting mad about this and that, getting mad about any kind of play call when the team is going to end up with an appropriate record of 12-5, most likely, and they're going to end up in the 2 seed. If we wouldn't have added a stupid 7th, seed, they'd be taking the week off in the first week. And that just makes me more aggravated with the 7th playoff team. And
I just want to say one thing really quick. I'm not just pointing at Steve Spagnuolo as far as the coaching decisions. I'm pointing at Andy Reid ultimately, because
absolutely.
It just looked like they were playing it by ear the entire time.
Yeah.
And Anthony Hitchens even said that they didn't actually finally say, hey, let them score until basically they were in the kneel down situation. So, that just all around, it just kind of seemed like they either weren't prepared, or hopefully, Josh, like you said, in the playoffs, they actually have something like that, some type of blueprint to say, okay, we're tied. The opposition has the ball, in scoring position with 3 minutes. We got to make sure we get the ball back to Patrick Mahomes. So I'm hoping that's what happens.
Either that, or you call the left guard offsides on that 3rd and 1, and that goes.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
That goes back to the yard line. I mean, it's just there's so many what if games. But my favorite what if is what if they don't call that penalty on Snead, and Mahomes gets the ball at the 1 yard line and torpedoes down the field and scores a 99-yard touchdown drive in the course of the last minute of the game. What are we talking about then?
Well, how about this? Alabama, Kansas, Boston, and Europe, bands all go on tour together. And it's a band concert about just geographic locations.
Does Asia come with them?
Asia, yes, they can come too. Is that what we're talking about here? I blacked out the last minute of what we were talking about. I heard Josh is going to an Alabama concert, stopped listening. I heard Snead's name in there. Yeah, we should have. That'd be cool if we would have won the last 2 minutes going down the field that way. That would have been great too. But that concert though, I would go see that though.
Yeah, we got really good seats for that one. It's crazy. I ended up buying it, not realizing that I had a conflict that was in addition to the wedding show and everything. And unfortunately, that conflict kind of worked itself out in an unfortunate way. I won't get into what it is and anything, but yeah, I mean, we have that concert and everything, but I'll be trying to track down a sports bar in Madison, which is fine. I mean, we have parts of the Milwaukee Chiefs fan group that live in Madison that don't particularly care to drive an hour and 10 minutes to come drink a bunch of beer at our watch party at home
and drive back.
Hour 10 minutes. Hell yeah, I'll be right there.
Yeah.
Have one for the road. Yeah.
We have a group.
What's Alabama's hit? What's their hit? I don't know. I don't know anything from them. What are they?
Alabama. I mean, they were the entertainers of the decade for the 80s. They put out a CD that's like 40 number ones or something stupid like that. Now I'm going to be looking up Alabama stats. Give me a second here.
Alabama the band, not football, right? I mean,
correct.
The Roll Tide's not going to be doing a concert. I guess.
No. We're talking about Randy Owens. We're talking about those guys. So let's see.
Oh, do they do Fishing in the Dark by chance?
That's Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. I'm sure they've played at a bunch of concerts.
They do Sweet Home Alabama.
They might as well.
They do that song?
Now I can't.
That was Leonard Skinner. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Do they do that? What's your name, little girl? Let's see that one. Are they
still
them?
Leonard Skinner?
Oh, okay. Were they the 38 Special song?
Okay, so they have 15 number one singles, with the most recent one being with the most recent one being the 2011 hit "Old Alabama," which is a song with Brad Paisley, which is their take on mountain music. And I know you know that. Oh, hold on. Never mind.
No, don't.
They have number one singles in 15 years. There's some of them where they have, so they have 40 number one hits. I got that right the first time.
I did not mean to derail the whole football discussion like this. My bad.
Hey, you went this way. I'm talking Alabama.
Trying to be funny. I was just trying to goof around. Josh does what Josh does. When I goof around, he goes to the logical conclusion of my parody, and he makes us go there. We're like, go there.
Yeah.
We're gonna see this one out.
40 number one singles. They're incredible. Looking forward to the show. All right. So we got a game coming up in week 18. We're playing the Denver Broncos, but before we talk about that game, we need to talk about what all of sports radio has been talking about all day. And let's spend less time on this than we did talking about Alabama, for the love of God.
I'd rather talk more about Alabama.
Have you ever seen anything as wild as that Antonio Brown situation?
That is the most amazing I quit story, or you're fired story, whoever you want to believe, I guess. But that's like, I don't think he's going to work there anymore. He's pumping up. Wait. So he's pumping up the Jets crowd as he's leaving, and he plays for the opposing team. I don't think I've ever seen anything. No one has ever seen anything like this before. He's on the field. Shouldn't the referees throw a flag or something? Like, he's not supposed to be on the field.
He just kind of went old Dennis Rodman there and just took off all his clothes and went to the locker room. But
here's the thing. You have seen that before. It wasn't on a football field. Wasn't in a basketball stadium. It was when you watched the movie Half Baked that came out when we were in high school. And there's a scene where the guy's working at the fast food restaurant is like, F you, you're cool, I'm out.
Cool.
That's when you've seen that. That's where you've seen that.
Screw you. You're cool. Screw you, I'm out. And he drops it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
That's where you've seen that before. So yes, you have seen that before. I know both of you have seen that movie. That's where you've seen that before. That was a scene from a movie.
I'd like to see like his exit thing. Antonio Brown's exit interview. It's like, how do you feel about playing here?
Here's the thing: you've seen his exit interview. He's been giving it for the past 2 days since then. He's
right after he was waiting for a cab outside the stadium after the game. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
he's good though. He's good. We all know he's good. He used to be good. I bet you he plays for somebody else. I bet you he does. He's really good. He was on my fantasy team before he had all that COVID nonsense going on. But
he forged a vaccination card and somehow didn't end up in federal prison for that.
Did he do that?
Oh yeah.
Yes, he did. He got suspended 3 games. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, let's be clear. That takes a light mastery of PowerPoint and a trip to Home Depot or to Hobby Lobby.
No, he did it.
It must get the right paper.
He did that Microsoft Paint. It looks all crappy, like the spray paint tool. He used that.
Just take an index card and just put it's right on there.
Exactly.
Vaccination card. Yeah.
No, it's the Ron Swanson. I can do what I want.
Exactly. Yeah, it's Ron Swanson. He's like, Ron, you're not going to slaughter that pig here in the park. He's just like, oh, I have a permit. It's like, this just says I can do what I want. I am the director of the Parks Department, and this is a park.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
That's right. I like to go to food and stuff. It's where I get my food.
I think
that's where I get my stuff.
He's holding up a toilet seat and a garden hose.
I think Antonio Brown is auditioning for I think Antonio Brown is auditioning for a reality TV show now that I think about it.
Cool.
I bet you we're gonna have like a T.O. Terrell Owens kind of situation now.
T.O. is calling the Buccaneers saying he wants to play.
For
real? Probably could still play. Have you seen him?
For real. For real.
For that? I mean,
no, he legitimately went on TV and said, "Hey, Bucks, I'm willing to play."
Okay, yeah, we're gonna trade out one like person who. We just want more drama. We want to lower the drama and increase the touchdowns. We're kind of less. That's the scale we're on right now. So
yeah,
drama. That's not gonna work. Oh my gosh! But I think people think Antonio Brown's done. I'm not convinced that's going to happen quite yet. I'm likely wrong, but he's only because he's still it's pretty good. So I mean, if he can score. But then again, I don't know what team leader is going to be like. He can score, but it's so annoying. Can we find someone else who scores at least negligibly as well as he can, and go from there? But
here's my counterpoint to that. The last guy that got him a job was Tom Brady.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
So if it takes Tom Brady to get him a job, there's only one of those.
Go to Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, or whoever the quarterback for. How about the Jets? I'm sure the Jets are like, we'll pay you $5.
He tries to re-sign with the Raiders. Let's have round 2 with that.
Oh yeah, well, so maybe. No, I think the Jaguars or give it one of these like lower rung teams, right? The teams like the Jets or the Jaguars. Like, guess what? You're playing here, and we're going to pay you $5 an hour, and here you go.
Well, so let's unpack this Jaguars thing a little bit. So you guys are aware that the guy who owns the Jags, Shad Khan, also owns AEW Wrestling, correct?
Yes.
Did not know that.
Okay. So the guy who owns Jacksonville owns a wrestling organization. So
Josh was like, I don't think he's taking a journey with me.
He's trying to move his team to London. So is it really outside the realm of possibility that we could see some video where it's just like, Antonio, I brought Urban Meyer in here to destroy this team and move it to London, and he couldn't get it done. Can you come in and finish the job? I mean, it
Oh, that sounds like an XFL thing. But
it sounds like an AEW wrestling plot.
Well, it sounds like Major League is what it sounds like.
Exactly.
This is like
we won a game today.
This is a book club for people who refuse to read books. Like, I watch movies and watch wrestling. Let's use that. This is like Hamlet. Like, no, I don't know what that is. But AEW.
Did you ever see the movie Lake Placid?
I haven't.
But I don't remember it.
Okay, so it's like alligators attacking a town in Maine. Not really a good movie, but there is some funny stuff. So Cloris Leachman, R.I.P., great actress, was on there, and Oliver Platt was on there, and they had this bumbling local sheriff, and then Oliver Platt was this brash guy. I don't even know why he was there, but he was brash. He shows up in a helicopter. He's rich. He's chasing this big alligator. And I can't remember if it was alligators or crocodiles. There is a difference. I know what the difference is. I just don't remember in this plot point what it was.
It's the nose.
But at some point, yeah, exactly, with the nose. But at some point, Oliver Platt's making fun of the sheriff all the time, and the sheriff was just like, "Oh, so you're saying these came across the Atlantic Ocean? I didn't know that alligators could swim across the Atlantic Ocean." And Oliver Platt looks at him and just goes, "Yeah, I understand. They normally conceal information like that in books, so I understand why you wouldn't know that."
They can steal that in a book.
Yeah,
Ooh,
steal that in a book. Anyway,
can I Google a book? Like,
yeah.
You're reading.
So, Brian, change your background real quick because we have a game coming up this weekend. I've had a sneaking suspicion.
Cowboys?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Brian.
Broncos.
I've had a sneaking suspicion for most of this stretch run that this game was going to actually end up meaning something. And there's a part of me that's actually really happy that it's going to mean something because Chiefs win this game. They've taken care of 7 seasons of beating the Broncos. So this would be 14 games, 7 seasons where they've beaten down the Broncos, and I'm really looking forward to that. There are very
it makes up for all the pain that John Elway and Peyton Manning inflicted on the Chiefs.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. They deserve it every freaking loss.
There is not a sports organization that I hate more than the Denver Broncos. I cannot stand that organization. Mad props, respect, all of that, whatever. This is sports hate. I don't hate actual people, stuff like that. Bill Simmons used to talk about that all the time. This is sports hate, but the majority of my sports hate goes to the Denver Broncos, and we cannot beat that team enough times in a row.
Josh, hey, by the way, I want you to I gotta go, so to take a little mental note of this image right here. I do have a phone call with my company here in 9 minutes, so I'm working late tonight. Working a little late tonight, so I gotta go do that. My song is "This Too Shall Pass" by that one band that
Okay Go
in their music video, which is
Okay Go.
Awesome. Okay Go, yeah. And I think we win by at least I'm gonna go with 14 points. And okay, that's all I have here. But I got to drop, guys.
Okay, sounds good. By the way, Brian, the spread is 10, and we're going to win by that much. So,
all right, sounds good.
Yep.
All right, see you guys.
All right, Chris. So what's your song? Let's just hit that before we talk about this Bronco game a little more.
Actually, give me a minute. What's your song?
I'm going to go with "Taking Care of Business." That's what I think this week is going to be all about. There's no resting. We got to go in. We have to win. Main reason we have to win is we need to hold on to that 2 seed. So the road to the playoffs runs predominantly through Arrowhead, and a Titans slip up makes it run completely through Arrowhead. So they've got to take care of business this week.
Yeah, I mean, God, I forgot to pick a song this week.
We'll keep thinking about it because
let's come back to it.
Yeah. I mean,
something will come to me.
This Denver game. I'm with Brian. I think we talked about this on our picks against the spread that's going to be coming out as well. Yeah. We're both aligned. They're going to win this game. They're going to do it by the spread amount, which is 10. Every Bronco fan knows about it. And if you want to talk about an NFL conspiracy theory, I mean, if they're trying to embarrass the city of Denver, I question what the attendance was going to be before they moved the game to Saturday, which I'm furious about that, by the way. And how empty or how red is this stadium going to be just based on all these different factors? And we don't know if Vic Fangio is coming back. You have no idea what that organization is going to look like in a few months.
Yeah, I can't see Fangio being the head coach of them next year. I mean,
no.
And it's scary to think that team might obtain a quarterback next year. Hopefully it's not the drama queen that plays for Green Bay, but we'll see.
Yep. No, that would be scary. It would make the division interesting. It would probably end the streak of winning every game at 7 years. I don't see a sweeping and Aaron Rodgers led Denver Broncos team.
Oh,
I still believe we can get past them, if it comes down to it.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, we do at least split against them. I mean,
Still
But
split, still win the division, still, all this stuff.
yep. Okay, I'm just going to go with the horse with no name again, just because I love to pick on the Broncos. And honestly, again, they've got enough injuries and whatnot that honestly, I couldn't name 5 players on the team right now. So I'll go with that again.
All right. Want to pull up this ESPN playoff machine and go through all the different games and
sure,
pick winners and stuff. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. And then in addition to that, I'm going to bring up who we're picking for the spread to keep us honest on this one as well. So I think we're both picking Kansas City to win, which would lock up the 2 seed. Theoretically at this point we would go into Sunday in the number 1 seed, which I'm mad that the NFL put us in the situation that we're in, but I understand why they did. And the reason why they did is they want to have drama built up by the noon kickoff when the Titans take on the Texans. So we can just go ahead and jump to that one right now. I think we're both in the full belief that Tennessee is going to take care of business, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Got it. All right. We were split a little bit on the Dallas-Philadelphia thing. I think the Philly's going to at least cover the spread just to up the Dallas is kind of in trouble. Annie, you were all about Dallas. I think we're both kind of aligned. The Cowboys are going to win this game. So we'll go with that. Cincinnati and Cleveland. This is one of those games that, good God, who wants to even think about trying to pick this one? This is just a minefield of what are we doing? Everybody's out with COVID. Baker Mayfield's not playing. Joe Burrow's not playing. Joe Mixon's not playing. Cleveland's favored by 6. I had Cleveland winning. You had Cincinnati at least breaking the spread. Who are we picking to win this one?
I think based on what you said, let's pick Cleveland because, I think I just picked a cover.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so then we have Baltimore and Pittsburgh. And you were going with Baltimore, who's favored by 5.5 to win fairly big. I'm thinking Big Ben's not going out with a loss against the Ravens to end his career. But I'll let you make the call on this one.
Let me just see one thing. I mean, so Lamar Jackson's status, I think, is going to.
So I'm going to go through and mark the other ones that we were fully aligned on.
Sure.
We think the Packers are beating the Lions. We think the Bears are beating the Vikings. We had Tennessee going. We think the Saints are going to keep up their end of the bargain. We had Seattle ending their season on a strong note. We have the Rams winning. No, sorry, you had the Niners in that one. So I'm gonna check that one. Yeah, so we'll discuss that one a little bit more. We both had, let's see here, we both had Tampa winning. We both had Buffalo winning. We both had the Giants winning. We both had the Colts winning. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the Steelers-Ravens still. So where are you at with this one? You can make this call.
Let's go Pittsburgh. Once again, Jackson's missing practice time. I mean,
got it.
He still has tomorrow, but let's go with that based on his status.
So we got these all good. So Patriots, Miami. I think we were both aligned. We think the Patriots are going to win this game. Yeah. So we got Niners, Rams, and then we have Raiders, Chargers. And so you're rolling with the Niners. I was rolling with the Rams. I'm rolling with the Raiders.
And I was rolling with the Chargers.
And you're rolling with the Chargers. So why do you think San Francisco is getting this one done?
Well, because I think Matt Stafford is a turnover machine right now. And, I think whether it's Garoppolo or Lance, I think Kyle Shanahan is going to have that team playing salty enough to where they're going to be able to take advantage of the turnovers and being a divisional game. I like the 49ers in this game, but I'm not opposed to going with the Rams in this one just because it is I think on the surface, the sensible way to go. But I mean, a lot of the things that reasons why I think the 49ers will win, I would say are kind of it's much more obvious to pick the Rams, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Rams here, and the reason I'm going to go with the Rams is I'm going to relent and go with the Chargers for this last one. So I think it's a really interesting what if game because this is interesting where the Raiders by beating the Colts last week, right? Yeah, last week.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So this will flip flop the seeds. So in the scenario that we're at, we're going to go into Sunday Night Football waiting to find out if we're playing the Chargers or the Colts.
Well, so here's one more scenario to pick out. What if we lose to the Broncos?
In that situation, we're dropping all the way down to the third and we're playing the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Or if the Bengals had Joe Burrow, we would theoretically go down to the 4 because we lose every tiebreaker that comes up here.
Yeah, but I guess with the scenario, if we win our game and are going with the 2 seed, there's no way that we play the Raiders.
The way that we would play the Raiders is if the Colts lose.
And if the Ravens
win. And the Ravens won. Nah, yeah, so there's no way.
Oh, we get a okay.
There's no way we're playing the Raiders. So yeah, okay. I mean, the interesting things that are in play here. If we win, we're the 2 seed. I truly believe that that's going to be the first chip that falls. Literally because it's the first chip being played. So the first chip that falls is we're going to be the 2 seed. And so, our scenario that we could run into is that's how we could play the Raiders.
Uh-huh. Okay.
If the Chargers win, the Ravens win.
Oh, that's right.
Browns win, Jags win, we could play the Raiders. So if you want to know what I'm rooting for, it's this right here.
Oh, me too.
This is what I'm rooting for. But I think that we all expect the Steelers to take care of business. This would be pretty awesome as well.
It would.
The Colts to take care of business. The Chargers are probably going to take care of business, Justin Herbert. But Derek Carr does make a really compelling story.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing we could talk about is who would you rather see, the Colts or the Chargers? Because that seems to be kind of a, I guess, interesting scenario where I think a lot of fans are scared of both teams.
Yeah. No, I would say that the general word on the street is they're the 2 least ideal teams. The reality is that this is really probably the least ideal situation.
Yeah.
Not that I'm afraid of Mac Jones. It's just, do you really
want to be
Belichick playing Bill Belichick in the playoffs? This just,
Well, plus your confidence is a bit shattered too. It's like you lost to a Broncos team with basically no Patrick Surtain, no Teddy Bridgewater, like that.
Yeah.
That would definitely shake up, I think, the team a little bit.
Now, what I think would be a truly interesting situation is, let's just say that Bill's Bill. Oh God, they would go down to a 7 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah, because New England would then take the division. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, let's go back to what we think is actually going to happen here. That Bills win. So, yeah, I mean, I think that we're pretty aligned that we're going to be looking at playing the Chargers again.
Yep.
A third week of the Chargers.
I would rather see the Chargers a third time than see the Colts, just because, I mean, we know what we're getting in that game. It's going to be back at Arrowhead again. you should hopefully have most of your guys not on COVID, but you don't know from week to week. But I would definitely take a third shot with Los Angeles over Indianapolis without seeing them yet this year.
So the other interesting thing, let's kind of tool around with the NFC a little bit. The Niners win, they're in, and there's nothing that can be done about it. If the Cardinals also win, they could be on the top side. So that's the interesting thing that's going to happen. I just don't see Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll losing this game. I think that entire band's getting back together next year. I really do. And beating the Cardinals, in week 18 this year is going to be the first step in that. So really, we're just looking to see how this whole thing shakes out is the reality of everything.
So it looks like, okay. I was trying to think. It seemed like Tampa had the 2 seed locked up, but I guess if the Rams win, okay.
Correct. Because the
they
Rams
have the
beat
tiebreaker
Tampa.
over the Bucks.
They had the head-to-head, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, that's it. I mean, the Bucks have the division locked up for sure. So, I guess what I kind of question is what's the more interesting situation? The Saints going to LA or the Cardinals and LA playing each other. I think this is
Cardinals LA
situation for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And
the Saints remind me of like the 2006 Chiefs. I mean, they could back their way into the playoffs and then basically just go in there without any offensive firepower and not really stand a chance.
Yeah. This would be the most interesting wild card game for me. From this is the most compelling. This is the most interesting because I think this would be just a really interesting way to end the season. The two teams that were the toast of the NFC at the beginning of the season, duking it out on the 4 or 5 seed wild card weekend would be entertaining.
It would.
But yeah, I don't know that Dallas gets out of there beating San Francisco. I really don't. San Francisco seems to take care of the ball pretty well. So
they do, and they have experience in the playoffs. They have success in the playoffs, whereas Dallas does not.
Yep. Okay. Anything else to see here? This is what we think we're getting.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most likely scenario.
Got it. All right. All right. So you heard my fantasy comments. Did you have anything interesting fantasy?
Well, so I did have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase on my keeper league team in the championship game. So naturally, I won my keeper league for the first time in 18 years. It took me 18 years to finally win the keeper league that I'm in. It's largely in part thanks to Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, ironically.
Interesting. And they probably scored 100 points.
It'd be the equivalent, to probably like a typical scoring league. But yeah, I doubled up the guy that I played. So
wow, that's great. Well, congrats. How much money did you win on that?
Nothing. We just play that one for fun. So we and plus we all live in different states now. So yeah.
Nothing more fun than winning. Well, so Titans Anthony that we've had come on before. He lives in Illinois where sports betting's legal, and he's the epitome of playing the nickel slots at a casino. You just kind of sit there to get the free drinks and it's entertainment to you. FanDuel, I want to say is what he's on. Gives him a free $10 bet at least once a week on random stuff. So tonight he was putting together these random ass parlays with 3 things that had to happen on an NBA game. And if he gets none of it right, he just, wasted his free $10 bet. But he had a situation where if it hit, he got $60. And he had a 5 leg parlay that he won 150 on last weekend. But so he's always just throwing these like $1 and $2 bets and stuff. I mean, we
why not?
Yeah, we were down in Chicago watching sports all day one day, and we're sitting here throwing these like weird parlays of Premier League soccer matches at 8:00 in the morning. We're at a bar, and then setting at Top Golf, betting on the noon football games and everything. I'm like, that's pretty entertaining stuff. If that's all that people were doing and not losing their houses, this would probably be legal in more places.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, if you ever listen to Eric Eager, pretty much he'll drive across the border from Cincinnati to place quite a few bets.
Yeah.
And he's got some really fun stories. Yes.
Yeah.
Or Illinois. But yeah.
Cincinnati Airport's in Kentucky, Covington.
It is. Yeah. It's pretty much what, Louisville? But
no. It's Louisville. If you're looking at the state of Kentucky, Louisville's up in this top section here.
Okay.
And then Cincinnati and Covington, Kentucky are a border town. Traveling around the country just for work and previous jobs and stuff, one of the most interesting things to me was, Kansas City is a metro area split across 2 states. And I thought that was a fairly unique thing. That's not anything remotely close to unique.
Oh, yeah. Every time I say I'm from Kansas City, I mean, anyone from the area will ask you what side of the state.
Exactly. But the interesting thing is that's not even remotely close to the only, congested area population that has that. If you go into, I don't know, they kind of started taking these things away, but you get on a plane and every airline had their own magazine. So Delta would do this thing, and they'll always talk up the different places where they fly out of that are hubs. Well, so one of Delta's hubs is CVG, which is Cincinnati's Covington Airport. And so there was this whole write-up about how Kentucky is a great city for business. And it's the equivalent of talking about Missouri is a great city for business versus Kansas is a great city for business, just based on which side of the city some company decided to put their office. And so there's like all these companies that are based in Covington. And I'm sitting here going like, I'd be pissed off if I was Ohio right now.
Yeah.
But like Louisville has quite a bit of stuff too. But yeah, I mean, Cincinnati is halfway in Kentucky. So
yeah, I've flown through the airport a few times. So yeah.
It's a nice airport. Nice little airport.
It is. Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah. I like a lot of the like Ohio area airports. Like the Akron airport is an airport that I've always really liked because it's sneaky nice. It's not big, so it's really easy to get in and out of. But the thing that I really liked about it is you have the row of gates and there's a bar right across the aisle from the gates, so you can see when your plane's boarding and get one more beer.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting here going like, I don't need to buy anything. Why the hell would I go shopping at an airport? And like the only thing that I want to do at an airport is board a plane and drink a beer before I do it.
I've never bought anything at an airport unless it's a bottle of water or
Akron is incredible at that. Yeah. I'll tell you the thing that I buy at the airport all the time is the best place to buy polo shirts is the clearance rack in those PGA Tour stores. So check that out.
Duly noted.
Yeah. So, all right. Anything else before we get into final takes?
No, let's do final takes.
All right. What do you got?
Well, and I don't know if you're going to go in the same direction I am, but I'm going to go to John Madden. Just because I finally got at least halfway through the old Madden documentary. And for anyone who hasn't seen the old Madden documentary, watch it. I mean, it's pretty awesome. But the thing that really caught my ear, and also the fact that Andy Reid is actually in the front end of the documentary as well, is that there was a article in The Athletic written by our friend Nate Taylor where Andy Reid talks about his experiences with John Madden. And what was really interesting in his article, and I might actually just read this. So when Reid was fired by the Eagles, and he was considering options on where to go next in his career, he was actually seriously considering, obviously the Chiefs, but also the Cardinals and the Chargers. And he actually had two people in his ear that convinced him that the Chiefs were the best organization to go to out of the three. One was Dick Vermeil, and the other was John Madden. Which, if you know John Madden, and especially if you do watch the old Madden documentary, John Madden was highly competitive and still is was a highly competitive individual, and he took that Chiefs Raiders rivalry to heart. I mean, there was one person, one coach that really, really dug into that rivalry other than Marty Schottenheimer. It was John Madden. But the whole fact that he was able to kind of say, you know what, this is a class organization. He even recommended, based on the fact of the Hunt family, he had always had high respect for Lamar Hunt and Clark Hunt. But the whole fact, and the best thing, this is actually the quote I want to read, is Andy Reid says that he says of John Madden, he loved to hate the Chiefs, but he loved the Hunt family. He would tell you they had some knockdown dragouts, but he said it's a great organization. The Hunt family is phenomenal. He'd always remind me to tell Norma Hunt hello. So I really love the story that Nate wrote up, and I think that's pretty cool to think that John Madden actually had a hand in getting Andy Reid to Kansas City.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, John Madden is part of the reason why that Chiefs Raiders rivalry is awesome.
Oh yeah.
And I made the comment about, sports hating the Broncos. I have a ton of family and friends that are Bronco fans. I used to live in Denver. So, it's the reason sports exist. It's so you can do stuff like go to that bar that Brian and I were at in Hayes and be like, oh, we're going to be talking smack here. And it's just like, I'm going to think you're cute the way you would have thought I was 15 years ago. But anyway, no, my final take is same thread, RIP Betty White. And, New Year's Eve, I did what I've done here probably about half the time here recently. And I had a wedding New Year's Eve. And so we're getting everything around to do this wedding and see that Betty White died. And, the whole thing, they had this big 100th birthday party planned for her. Her birthday was supposed to be January 17th. Well, it still is January 17th. And, so she didn't quite make it. I recently had a family member, was like an extended family member cousin, and she never married, which was, interesting for her being, she was like Mary Tyler Moore, a career woman in the 50s and everything. And so she lived out in Pasadena, California, and she worked for GE and went through all the Jack Welch Institute of Business and worked with Jack Welch. And, some of the interesting things I heard her talk about, like Donald Trump came in when he was a normal person and not the crazy president that we had, and would give business classes. And so she loved Donald Trump because she met Donald Trump and was just like, I had a great time with him and he's my guy and blah, blah, blah. But, she was in her nursing home and she got COVID and lived through it and would have never known she had it when it killed off something like, 50% or 60% of her plays. So just, tough as nails and everything. And she did make it to 100. And part of her life goal was to make it to 100. But it was one of those things, talking to my mom, who did a lot of taking care of her. You could tell my mom was just like, yeah, I don't know that she really does want to do this. And I think she'd kind of rather just not have to deal with any of the stuff that she's doing anymore. And, we try to take her out of there as much as COVID protocol lets us to go have coffee and have a little bit of social interaction, because that's probably what's actually killing her, is no social interaction. But, my mom started telling her when she was 99 that she had turned 100 because her mind was kind of starting to go and everything. And, so a lot of people are sad that Betty White didn't make it. But I just think of my cousin, and I'm just like, I don't think Betty White's sad about this. And, I hope she had family and friends in her telling her that she made it, and, she got to go with a piece and everything like that. And, I definitely don't like to read a lot of celebrity tabloids, because I just don't feel the need to pry into people's lives. But I definitely thought it was kind of sweet that, her last words were talking to her husband and stuff like that. And so it's one of those, think about her body of work and just everything like that, and how much of an icon she is. And it's, what else could you possibly want out of life? So RIP Betty White, and, cheers with this empty glass now to
cheers to Betty.
A life well lived, and cheers to John Madden. Thanks for Andy Reid.
I mean, Betty White, as far as the 60s and 70s especially, I mean, she was on television constantly. I mean, I can't remember the exact quote that I read in NPR, but she was like the lady of television or something like that back in those days. When she was also married to Alan Ludden, who was the host of Password before he lost his life in the early 80s. But she just an incredible career she had.
Yeah, just incredible career. And one of those people, it's just like, who'd you like to have a beer with? I don't know, this 99-year-old woman.
I sure as hell would have liked to have one with her.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I think we've covered enough ground in this close to an hour and a half segment, including a substantial amount of nonsense. So go Chiefs. We'll be talking playoffs next week, hopefully with a couple of very special guests. So until next time, take care.